Hello again and welcome back to Go Visit Castles.
This castle's origins go back much further than the Normans, further back than the Anglo-Saxons, all the way back to the Roman invasion of Britain.
Welcome to Herefordshire and this is Longtown Castle.
The site at Longtown was originally in use 2,000 years ago, when a Roman fort was built here to house the Roman infantry who had been sent over to Britain to fight the Silures tribe in the south of Wales, who were fiercely resisting the Roman conquest.
Taking an aerial perspective of the Longtown Castle settlement, it's got Roman frontier fort stamped all over it. And 1,000 years later, the Normans saw it totally fit for purpose to build a magnificent round keep in the northwest corner of the fort. Now, recent archaeological excavations have proved that the Roman legions were right here on this very spot in the 1st century AD, and that's exciting. When the Romans first built this fort, it was right on the western frontier of Britain, and it was big enough to garrison 500 Roman legionaries, known as a cohort. Now, a cohort was a standard military unit for a Roman legion, around about the same size as a modern-day infantry battalion, and a fully equipped Roman legion consisted of 10 cohorts, that's 5,000 fighting men.
In 1055, Aeflgar, the Earl of East Anglia, was convicted of treason and he was exiled to Ireland. But he soon returned from his exile with an army, and he landed in Wales, where he was joined by Griffith at Llewellyn. Together, they marched on the Anglo-Saxon town of Hereford and burned it to the ground. In response to this attack, Edward the Confessor raised an army under the command of Earl Harold Godwinson, and Harold marched on Griffith's army, forcing him back into Wales. Harold and his army camped at the old Roman fort at Longtown, where they both deepened the ditches and raised the height of the ramparts, which is why the settlement is the shape of a Roman fort, but has the defence height of a Saxon burh. I can't get over the height of the ramparts. They're enormous, aren't they?
20 feet in areas.
And you've got the stone underneath there as well. The
stonework as well. Obviously it's all disappeared now, but in the medieval, the entire rampart was stone wall. An added bonus, we're now walking in the path of the Roman legions.
That's amazing, isn't it? I'm feeling very Roman.
This is one of the medieval entrances into Longtown Castle, and that's obvious because it's totally off-centre with the Roman fort. Now come and have a look what I've just discovered. Bang central to the whole earthworks, this is the Roman gateway entrance into Longtown Castle. This is where the Roman legionaries marched in and out of the fort. This is amazing.
When King Harold was killed at the Battle of Hastings in 1066, it's likely the fort was occupied by the Welsh, who were hostile to the conquering Normans. But when the Welsh started attacking the border, one of William the Conqueror's men, Walter de Lacy, was sent in to occupy the fort at Longtown. Walter built a wooden tower here, raised up on a motte on the ramparts' northwest corner, and from here de Lacy could both control and defend the Welsh locals who were facing ongoing raids from independent parts of Wales. The de Lacys laid out a new burh in order to finance the construction of a stone castle. The burh became known as the Longtown of Llewellyn. The de Lacys were immensely rich, which Henry II resented. They eventually overextended their reach, and King John sent in an army to expel them.
What a delightful little gatehouse this is, Joe. It's lovely, isn't it? And it comes complete with its own dinky portcullis. Cool, isn't it? As soon as you get through that portcullis into this area is just reserved for the higher echelons of society. And the plebs are left out that side. 2,000 years ago, the Romans come along and build a substantial fort here at Longtown. 1,000 years later, the Normans turn up and think, oh, thank you very much, Romans. You've got a big fort ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Build this huge motte, build a wooden tower, which is soon after replaced by this stunning round tower.
And it's a round tower as well, which I find really unusual because that's a design I tend to associate a round tower, round keep with Wales, not with the Normans, not with England. And the 3 towers that you've got on it, only one of which is opened up and you can see it there.
See
with
the passages, can't you?
Yeah.
Which is like a stairwell.
Yeah, you can see that one from here. What was the purpose of those? Why is it a round keep?
I think as well, this is one of the oldest round towers we've got in existence in the country, quite typical of what they were building in France at the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the fashion's crossed the channel, hasn't it?
Yeah, a bit of influence over here. By 1317, the castle was falling into decay. It was refortified under Henry IV's orders during the Owain Glendower rebellion, but by 1452, the castle and the village were in decline, and Longtown Castle was left to decay.
If you'd like to come and visit 2,000 years worth of history with the Romans, the Anglo-Saxons and the Normans, come and visit Longtown Castle. It's got it all.
It really has. If you've enjoyed this, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye for now.